Let's queer up gay culture. Indeed offers a $10,000 financial aid for trans employees to relocate to friendlier states. Job search platform Indeed has launched a new $10,000 payment program for their transgender employees to help them relocate to safer areas in the United States. As per the Bloomberg report, Indeed, Inc. announced the initiative to assist transgender employees back in July, but it's only now being made public. The initiative will offer any trans workers or workers who have trans relatives in their immediate family a payment of $10,000 to help them escape to states that still offer gender-affirming care and are generally more welcoming to those who might be seeking it. One employee, Sam Berger, told the publication that they made use of the initiative as soon as it was announced. Berger is one of the few employees who has taken part in the program so far, though. Other LGBTQ+ workers, particularly those living in Texas and Florida, have reported feeling uneasy about their futures in those states. Indeed's Vice President of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, Misty Gaither, explained that the company has been working with a business resource group for LGBTQ+ workers to figure out how best to respond to the growing number of states that are passing laws to restrict LGBTQ+ healthcare. Gaither said that any tax liability created by the payment, which is considered income, will be covered by Indeed, Inc.
What do you think?
Well, good for you, Indeed, Inc., but anybody who flees the state of Florida or Texas or any other similar state is chickening out. At the moment, we need them to stand strong in the fight. Now is not the time to tuck tail and run away.
I could not disagree with you more.
And I know that people don't agree with me, but I can tell you, as somebody who's in this fight every single day, politically and otherwise, every time somebody leaves the state of Florida, every time that somebody says, I'm leaving the country because of this, you're doing exactly what our enemies want you to do.
And I understand that you see it as a disservice, but that is not the point of the story. We're talking about the story. The story is that Indeed wants to give $10,000 to a transgender person. Now, you're not transgender. I'm not transgender, so we can't speak on the transgender experience. But I know that if I had a sister or brother, and if they were going through a life-threatening situation and they had to get the hell out of Florida and $10,000 was the way to do it, then I would say thank God that they had that money.
But aren't we all undergoing a life-threatening experience
in one way or another? But
it's an existential threat, not an immediate physical threat to us. This is an immediate physical threat to our trans sisters. And I have said on this show before, I've said, please don't leave. Please stay and fight with us. The one exception is our trans community, because they still have to take care of themselves. Because if they don't take care of themselves, then they just become another victim that we're going to see on the wall at the end of the year at T-Door.
Yes.
And that's why we need to do more to support them and
completely. Now, going back to Indeed, I want to say thank you to Indeed for, it's a great gesture. I think that $10,000, and I hope that it's tax-free. So let's say that. But you know what would be better? It would be better if you gave me $10,000 and a job. Like if they can give somebody that way to sustain themselves, to keep things going, then that would be a greater gift.
That is a very good point in the story, because when I first saw the headline, I thought, how awesome of Indeed as a job placement organization to offer that benefit. And then when you really look into it, they're just doing it for their employees. But I think that just business-wise, this really is a no-brainer. The cost of what it takes to find a new person, the cost to train the new person, the loss of profit over both of those periods of time, it just makes good business sense, frankly, to value your people. I agree with you generally, Scott.
I say go down with the ship.
I say stay for the fight. But if I had a kid in a Florida school who needed special kind of care, I'd say screw you to everybody and look after my kid. So I do think that it's situational, but business-wise, this is pretty simple and smart business.
Well, I think business-wise, that's the angle I was looking at it, was first I was thinking, man, these companies have a lot of cash to just kind of dole out $10,000 for something, but maybe they don't have that high of a transgendered population.
This story's just said that only one person is taken advantage of. So this great publicity that they've got them, has only cost them $10,000.
That's a great point.
But they haven't released that program to all the employees. That person was a part of like a small initial test. This is a part of them letting their employees know that it's out there. So we really don't know how many people are going to take advantage of it.
So the relocation would be if, I assume if you're having a job that is allowing you to work remotely, that you can move to the, to another state. But then I was reading Amazon's policy and Meta, which, because at first I thought it was pretty radical. And then they said, well, it's similar to Amazon and Meta. And then I was like, oh, okay. So now I understood it a little bit better, which is, I think under their policy, and I didn't read all the nuts and bolts of it, but the basic idea is that they will, as part of your insurance package, if you do need to travel to another state in order to receive care, then that will be partially subsidized. So I think that's a good policy if you're not able to work remotely. You're working at some day-to-day job in an office, and on the weekend, once a month, you need to travel to, I was going to say Alabama, but not Alabama, but to some other state where you need to receive your care. That's the only place you have access to it, and then to come back. And if you can get it mailed to you, if you can, that's covered. But if there's no other choice and you have to transport yourself, it's covered under some of their subsidies. So I thought that's a great plan. I am just slightly skeptical in going along with what you're saying, is that maybe it is a little bit of a cheap PR stunt to help them, which is good, but they probably don't have that many trans. That's just my cynical nature.
Well, we've already talked about how small the percentage of the general population is trans. So we know it's not going to be a ton of people. It is. God bless them for doing it. I give them credit, but it's not like they're really making a sacrifice.
No. I got you. I understand. But it's a nice gesture. How about that? It's a nice gesture, right?
Absolutely. It's impactful for people who
Indeed.
Who can use those
right now, but will be able to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but let's make no mistake. Indeed is not losing money on this.
Right.
No. Again, still a nice gesture.
Yes.
Nice gesture. Good job, Indeed.
And everybody stay here and fight. We don't.
Nobody leave Florida because Scott's going to kick your butt.
He's going to be waiting at the border.
Right there. There's a border.